Yes, Jamaicans are natural pace setters, ladies and gentlemen. Something that there are some things that I did not know. For instance, Jamaica became the first Caribbean country to qualify in the World Championship, to qualify in the World Cup Championship, yes, in 1998, ladies and gentlemen. The first Caribbean country to qualify in the World Cup in 1998. Something that I did not know, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaica, here's also another interesting fact that I did not know about Jamaica. They became the first non-American country to qualify and win in the B spelling competition, ladies and gentlemen. Another interesting fact that I did not know, ladies and gentlemen. In 1671, Jamaica established the first postal office. Another interesting fact that I myself did not know, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, here is something else that I have always been talking about. You know, Jamaica became the first Caribbean country to send Bobsled team in Calgary, Alberta in Canada to participate in Bobsled competition, ladies and gentlemen. A competition that is involved with ice. And you know, Jamaica is a tropical environment. There is no ice. You know, there is no ice in Jamaica, but because of the attitude, the amount of attitude and confidence that they had, you know, they went and participated in Calgary, Alberta in Canada. Actually, they were called the underdogs, ladies and gentlemen, because they are exceptional. It's an exceptional case. You know, you're coming from a tropical environment where there is no ice, there is no snow, but you're still competing in bobsled, ladies and gentlemen. That was very nice. What else have I forgotten? Yes, of course, we know the obvious facts. The obvious facts is a country that started the Rastafari movement. Rastafari movement was started in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a culture that was inbred by black people. It's also the first culture, I believe so, if I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm right, but it's the first black man culture that has transversed across all nations, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Rastafari has transversed across so many nations, You know, even in the US, you'll find the Rastafari community. In Canada, you'll find the Rastafari community. Here in Africa, you'll still find the Rastafari community in Ethiopia, even in my own country, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, they also started out reggae. Jamaicans, naturally, they are, you know, musical. They are very musical. Yes, let me also share with you some of the most interesting facts. Okay, the global sound system culture, ladies and gentlemen, you know, whereby you have a DJ and the big speakers and the disc jockey, and you load all this into one big track, ladies and gentlemen. That is the sound system. Jamaicans started the global sound system culture that was later on incorporated into the hip-hop block parties in New York. There was actually a DJ, his name was called DJ Kool Herc, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Kool Herc carried the same sound system culture from Jamaica, and then he went to New York, and you know, he was also, you know, attending some of these, you know, hip-hop block parties, and he was introducing the sound system into the hip-hop, you know, and people loved that. And I'm not saying that Jamaicans, you know, started out hip-hop. You know, I know it's a combination of different people, you know, from different areas, ladies and gentlemen, but Jamaicans had a hand in development of hip-hop, ladies and gentlemen, you know, through the influence of the father of hip-hop. His name was called DJ Kool Herc, right away from Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that is very nice. Okay. And of course, reggae and dancehall, the way I've mentioned, reggae and dancehall. Actually, reggae and dancehall has received recognition from UNESCO, you know, especially the dancehall. Dancehall is also very popular. Dancehall mean dancehall nami everything. Dancehall nami everything. Jungle is Willie Bones, yeah. Every bad man, every thug, yeah. You know, that is, you know, dancehall. And then of course you have reggae. Dancehall nami everything. Dancehall nami everything. Jungle is Willie Bones, yeah. Every bad man, every thug, yeah. You know, one amazing thing about Jamaicans, they are very musical. Out of every 10 Jamaicans you meet, at least 8 of them can sing, ladies and gentlemen. That's how amazing Jamaica. And even from the clips that I have seen from Jamaica, one thing that I've also noticed is that Jamaicans express themselves through art. You'll see graffiti of drawings, you know, graffiti of heroes. You'll see graffiti of poetry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that tells you about one thing. These guys, majority of these guys are very, very, very artistic. artistry. They express themselves through music, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. and that's one thing. But before I move on with this conversation, subscribe and share this channel far and wide. And one thing, like the way there's another Jamaican saying that say, you can't put all your goats in a one pen. You can't put all your goats in a one pen, because a disease might come and it might take away all the goats. Okay, so one thing that I have learned even through my demonetization period is that you cannot just depend on one thing. You need to at least diversify on other areas, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, either way, subscribe and share these videos, ladies and gentlemen. One interesting fact, like the way I've said about Jamaicans, is that they are very musical. Out of 10 Jamaicans you see, out of 10 Jamaicans you meet, 5 of them can speak Jamaican patois, Of course, that is obvious. They can sing. At least 5 of them can sing. They can sing. They are very musical. They have, expressed themselves through art. Let me tell you something else that I love about these Jamaican people. They love having fun in life, regardless of the circumstances you're in, regardless of the kind of challenges that you're passing through. These guys always have a way of having fun. They know very well that this life is very short. You only got one shot in life, ladies and gentlemen. You only got one shot in life. You see me? You only get one chance in a life. You only get one chance in a life, Virgin. And when you're dead, when you're dead, everything doesn't make sense anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So live your life, have fun. That the moment, have fun. Don't let anything pull you down. Don't let anything crush you out, ladies and gentlemen. Always be happy. Look at how these guys are enjoying themselves. Look at how they have their own small parties. Look at how they have their own small drinking parties. They are chatting up, they are talking up, making a lot of jokes, cracking up, cooking a lot of food every day. Every Sunday they will meet up maybe somewhere in Portland with different cars, and you'll see them dancing. That's how people, I believe that's the best way to live your life. It doesn't matter. Not every day you are sad, you're complaining. Every day you're sad about one thing, you're complaining about another thing. Every day it's a cycle, and that's how you get depressed. But look at how these guys are always having fun, dancing. It doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans love having fun always. These guys love having fun. You go to somewhere in a beach, and they relax and they play around. They harvest crabs, they eat jelly in the forest. Have the crack jokes, they party, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of the life challenges. This is one of the people are drawn to where people are happy. Naturally, have you ever seen some of these Jamaican YouTubers, and how they are enjoying their own lives in Portland, and how they are, they are skydiving and diving in the waterfall. You want to be part of that. How they are cooking, how they are drinking and having fun and cracking jokes. Such things really draw a lot of people. People love to be around where people are having fun. It's the nature of life, ladies. That's how it is. People love to be where people are having fun and enjoying themselves. That is it. I believe these are also some of, yes, I know there are also some problems there in Jamaica. Yes, there are also some bad people in Jamaica, just like any other country, just like my own country. There are also some really bad people. You have to be very, yes. Another amazing and important fact, this is not exceptional facts, because we also have other islands that do love African people, but Jamaicans really appreciate the African people, even from their own music, ladies and gentlemen. Just lately you have seen how Jamaicans really celebrate Ibrahim Traore. You have even seen situations where Jamaicans are putting up graffiti of Ibrahim Traore in their cars. They are putting up stickers and graffiti. I have seen situations where Jamaicans are poetry, crafting out poetry of Ibrahim Traore, live on TikTok. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys do really appreciate and love the African people so much, even from their own music. When you listen to the reggae music, they sing or they talk about repatriation and going back to the motherland, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times. Yes, if there are people that do love Africans people, is the Jamaicans. Jamaicans do love and appreciate the African. You can see that even through music. You can see that how they come to Kenya and visit Kenya. They are even investing and buying land in Kenya, but you have to be very careful when it comes to buying land as a Jamaican. You have to be very, very careful, so that like the way I've said, we also have some really, really bad people here in my country. They might scam you if you're not careful. Anywhere else it's the same thing. Anywhere else in every country you go, ladies and gentlemen. But either way, Jamaicans love the African people so much. You can't put all your goals in one penny, see me? Yeah, you need to diversify your income always. One thing that I have always learned that is one thing that I've always learned through my demonetization period, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot just depend on one thing. Either way, before I move on, please subscribe and share these videos far and wide. But one interesting fact about Jamaica, because it's Jamaican patois. Okay, and that's why I believe Jamaicans are very musical and artistry. When you go to Jamaica, okay, I have never gone to Jamaica, let me start but by next year I am planning to go and visit the island, ladies and gentlemen. But one thing that I have noticed is that even from the clips that I have seen, most Jamaicans have graffiti. They express themselves through art, they express themselves through poetry. A lot of them, they are very musical. For every 10 Jamaicans you meet, at least 8 or 6 of them can actually sing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, these guys sing very well. Their lyrics, and even the rapping. When you hear the rapping in Jamaican patois, yes, of course, we have the hustling nature of the Jamaican people, ladies and gentlemen. Even from the diaspora, there are a lot of Jamaican restaurants, ladies and gentlemen, run by Jamaicans. These guys really work hard. They really work hard. The entrepreneurship among the Jamaicans is so amazing. Putting a lot of hard work, running a business. It's not very easy, ladies and gentlemen. There's actually another African, in the diaspora. This guy started selling his own African food, but a lot of Africans didn't come to buy his own food. So he looked around and he noticed that, oh, Jamaicans are supporting their very own. They're buying Jamaican food. He started teaching himself. He went to Jamaicans and he taught himself, or maybe some Jamaicans even taught him how to prepare and cook Jamaican food, how to even speak in Jamaican patois, ladies and gentlemen. That's another amazing fact about Jamaica. The entrepreneurship mindset, or the entrepreneurship spirit of the Jamaican people. Where they go, they start up business. Even here in Kenya, there are restaurants run by Jamaicans, and they are doing very well. They are doing exceptionally very well. There was one time I went to one of the restaurants in Westlands, and I ate rice and oxtail, the most amazing food that I have ever tasted.